Hello, hi, and welcome. We're doing that dice thing today, where we decide cardinal, mutable, modalities or elements. We're doing modalities or elements because I feel like it, and we'll see if it comes up mutable again. I almost used a different bag or a different set of dice, but I was like, this one's it. So, bottom of the deck is the Three of Swords, which is cardinal air. So, who is this? Let's see. I know it's Libra. Oh, it's Saturn in Libra. Oh, goodness. Saturn in Libra is interesting, though, because I feel like Saturn in Libra is like a glider, right? Because I recently discovered the Libra symbol is basically the aerodynamic flow of something over like a blade, right? There's the piece under it, or I guess it would be. It's aerodynamic, girl. I can't go all the way there today. I gotta save some brain for what I gotta do. But with Saturn, I feel like aerodynamics in Saturn, it's sustained. So it's something that it's airborne, or it floats on air, it glides. Or it's the breeze. I don't know. I'm actually gonna use dice today instead of tarot. So I am going to roll the D4 first, and then I'll roll the rest to get that general, and then we'll see. I can't use the Diceology cards. I think nope. Just dice. Just dice. Okay. So let's see what number it is. I was gonna do all of this like before and just start, but I was like, I'll just timestamp it. Timestamps will be in the description box if you would like to click right to the beginning of whatever element or the sign or whatever. Whatever you wish. That's what I put them there for. Oh my goodness. You see that? Maybe not. Maybe you can't see it. You see that? Well, it's a 4 in the no, it's the 3. It's 3. We're doing mutable signs. No. Yeah, it is. It's 3. We're doing mutable signs again. I promise this die is not loaded. Which is fine, though, because it's not like any of these are extremely necessarily long. I was low key when that Three of Swords came out, though. I was like, oh, that's Gemini. And I was like, hold up, wait, that's not Gemini. So y'all know the drill by this point. Mutable signs. It's all y'all again. We'll go with the Knights today, though. We'll go with the Knights today because I'm feeling it. And I still will pull the Angel as the overall. Oh, look! Pisces and the Erudite are still together. The Moon and the Erudite are still together. Let's see. This would be so much easier if I just did it like this. I don't even know what colors I have. I'm hoping that I don't get both purple sets, but if I do, it's fine because they'll be separate. So Gemini, then Sagittarius, then Virgo, then Pisces. Nope, then Pisces, and then Virgo. That Knight of Pentacles always coming out last. Always coming out last. There he is. Between the Four of Wands and the Eight of Cups. Doing what is necessary. So, how are we going to set this up? I guess just like this. Now use this as the thumbnail. Where's my little take a picture button? I thought I had a little take a picture button. I guess I don't. I'll just take one on my phone, I guess. One moment as I take this picture. Today is November the 22nd. We are still in the 0th degree of Sagittarius. About to head into the first degree, I believe. And I want to get the Sabian symbol, because why not? Right? Let's see. We're actually going to look at the cross. Oh, which is perfect for this, because, oh, and I'm actually going to take these. I'll look at them later. I'll look at them in a second. Let me see what, let me check really quick. I guess I'll start the timestamp here at 5. 1 second, I'm going to pause it so I can get the timestamp. Okay, I'm hitting resume, even though I could have I could have looked at this. I could have looked this up and had everything completely ready. But girl, let's be realistic. This is Patrick we're talking to. No, it's non-existent. Okay, so let's go. Venus is 1 degree Scorpio, a degree and a half Scorpio. Mercury is 15 degrees Scorpio. The Sun is 0 minutes and 55 seconds. So in 5 solar minutes, it will officially be the 1st degree of Sagittarius. But since it's still 0 when we're starting, I'm going to read the cross for the 1st degree of Mutable Signs. Because that's how it's set up in this book. Crosses of the Sabian symbols. I love this. I love looking at it via the cross because it relates things and it's interesting. I'm very much so into that. Okay, so 0 to 1. 1st degree. Gemini is a glass-bottomed boat in still water. Virgo is a man's head. Sagittarius is a grand army of the Republic campfire. Pisces is a public market. This cross is the journey that includes Gemini's quiet perception, protected by the boat and seeing safely through the glass to life within our watery emotional body. Virgo's analysis and focus on mentality. Sagittarius's campfire chat, reminiscent and hold up, wait. Reminiscence and group debrief, with the military signifying life warrior energy. Pisces' experience of distraction, noise, and the jostle for attention in the public market. The noise, internal then external, increases from Gemini and reaches crescendo at Pisces. I have Jupiter in Gemini 001, meaning, this is from the author, meaning I get a lot of insights. My experience of this cross is that I perceive, Gemini, something, then analyze it, Virgo. Having learned about the different psychological and psychic subjects through books and chats, Sagittarius, Virgo's sifting and sorting becomes Pisces' confusion. For example, when I perceive hidden hostility from someone, the discussion I have with myself goes like this. Is this dynamic mirroring an aspect of myself? Is this situation a past life reenactment? Is my perception a subconscious signal, or is it mere bias? Should I care? Have I picked up a psychic entity that attracts this behavior from people and needs clearing? Going back to Gemini's state of quiet, centered perception after Pisces' confusion is a relief and takes work, such as meditation and self-reflection. As the goal of feeling balanced, Gemini's boat and centered requires mental focus, cutting through the noise, Sagittarius and Pisces. Alternatively, out of the noise and hustle of Pisces, we can find our own tribe, Sagittarius. With our own intellect, we sift/sort, Virgo, through different perceptions available and make our own judgments, Virgo, for or with clarity, Gemini. That's a lot. I don't know how many mutable crosses I've read. I'm just like, but there's this sort of inside outside type of energy between Pisces public market and the Virgo a man's head, right? Either there can be noise outside or noise inside, and then in the Gemini Sagittarius opposition, on one we have the glass bottomed boat in still water, so we can see to the bottom, even though the water is still. And then a grand army of the Republic campfire in Sagittarius. So there's this like sort of self introspection with Gemini, and then like a more group or discussion based introspection with Sagittarius. So introspection, reflection, and noise are the central themes. And let's see what we get going on. Well, judgment is here, which is interesting. Plutonian fire. Is this 28? I think it is. Yeah, it is. 28 is. I should know 28, but I'm going to look it up anyway. Because it would take longer for me to figure it out. Even though it probably wouldn't, honestly. Now I gotta find it. Here it is. 28 is the 7 of essences. 28 is the 7 of essences. So we got the 7 of essences. These are a little hard to read. We got this one came out yesterday, didn't it? The throat and the sacral. And then another 5, which is Leo. This is interesting. One second, y'all. I'm sorry. I could have paused it again. So, I can't mute this because my mom might call, and if she calls, I need to respond. So, we have the sacral and the throat. With the sacral and the throat, there's this creative energy. But the sacral and the throat could also be this space of discourse. And it feels more like a space of projection, right? So there's the glass bottom boat that we start with. I guess technically we're in Sagittarius season. So we'll do Sagittarius last. So we start with this glass bottomed boat. And the glass bottom boat talks about the things that in stillness we can perceive of within ourselves. We don't necessarily have the ability to go down and interact with it, but we can notice it. And once we notice it and once we're aware, then things can happen. Now we go to that Virgonian energy that gets us to contemplate and it gets us to think, right? And while we're contemplating and thinking, this is that judgment. Between Gemini and Virgo, we have the judgment. But it's of the self, or at least it starts with the self. And it's not necessarily harsh. Let's say it's like analyzing. It's introspection. We have this introspective energy. And then we take those insights out in public, not yet discussing them, but we're seeing how these truths internally relate with the world outside. And so there's this opportunity to, without discussion or without an exchange, see how much truth these things that we found at the bottom of these things that we've seen through the bottoms of our glass boats. We kind of sort of see if it's like that in other parts of that pond or whatever. right? Because we're only in one area. The water is still, we're not going anywhere. Then we have to paddle, because it's still water, no wind. We have to paddle or push our way to another section, which is the public arena, and we see if we see the same sort of truths in life and light there. Now, depending on what that is or isn't, and how we choose to engage those truths and those discussions, we move into the campfire discussion of Sagittarius. And the campfire discussion of Sagittarius is where the throat and the sacral really comes into play, because that's about us sort of exchanging that energy with the outside to get a piece back or to get something back, right? Because we also have Leo energy here. And Leo energy being the sun, it kind of sort of is about light that gives life. And that's the power of the breath as well. But if it doesn't come from that sacral space, it's almost like it holds very little to no creative power. Meaning that our words only affect part of the change that they have the power to if we were more consciously connected to the breath. Because the breath is the vehicle for the soul, or it can be, and it's what we exchange with our environment. But it's like if you're not connected, then you're not going to get anything out of it, right? It's like, let's say you have a lawnmower and there's no gas in it, or it's not on, so you're just pushing it. Now, is there a chance that some grass could get cut by the blade under the lawnmower because of how you're pushing it? Yeah, but it's not going to have the same effect as if the lawnmower were on. And so we still need to be connected to something on the internal. It takes more than just being conscious of it. And then we have the Seven of Essences. The Seven of Essences is interesting because it's the beginning of the journey of understanding more. I feel like for a while we've been at the Six of Essences spot where we've had a fairly comfortable understanding of spirit, some of us, or energy and how it works, but it wasn't complete at all. It was more complete for the space that we were in where the boat was, but when we go to this other part of the boat, or when we start talking to other people about what they see at the bottom of their glass boats, that's where these discrepancies kind of sort of, in the past they didn't pop up necessarily because everything was still, but now that there's momentum beneath the surface, even though the surface of the water is still, the currents under will have different things coming in. And so the trick is to, it's going back to Eulerian versus Lagrangian or Lagrangian reference frames. And I talked about that a while ago. There's this reference frame where you can look at a single, like we're looking under the boat, right? So either we can look under our boat and we can take stock of everything that passes under the boat, or we could follow the current and move our boat with that current. And so there's this multi-layered approach, or there's this differentiation that may be starting to happen because the currents underneath are changing. But if your boat is stagnant, or if your boat doesn't move, then you will lose sight of whatever's down there because it's not still anymore. It's moving now. And if it's moving and you're not moving, there's the disparity and the discrepancy and the difference. This is interesting. I don't want to get too deep into it because there's still more, but I feel like that's it. So this is the in-betweener trilogy, apparently. Let's see if it turns into a quadrilogy or pentilogy. Is that a word? Or a sextilogy, a septilogy, octilogy, nonilogy, decilogy. Let's not jinx it. I need to stop saying I'm a mutable channel because then the threes will keep popping up. Three's a fine number. Threes are catalytic, and as mutable signs, it's kind of sort of our job to be the catalyst. Um, it's the cardinal's job to really take it off or to take off, but something has to be the initial spark, right? And it could be easy to be like, oh well, the initial spark is the cardinal signs diet, and it's like not really, right? When the flint strikes the tinder, or flint and tinder, right? I ain't never started a fire if it's not apparent. But when you're striking something with the flint, when you're striking something against the flint, that's the mutable energy. And once it catches fire, that's cardinal energy, and then the fire grows. But we're looking at trying to get this thing to start in the first place. And then after you start the fire, all the air that comes in and the additional tinder and fuel, like all that's cardinal. And once it's good, then it's fixed. Right, and then mutable energy has to come in and be the dirt shoveled on top to put it out because you don't want to go to sleep with a roaring campfire outside. Wake up extra toasty. So I'm feeling fairly solid there. Let's move into Gemini. All right, Gemini, here we go, loves. Geminis, let's see what's up with you. I'm actually, I have a very good Gemini friend that I haven't really talked to in a minute. And he reached out last night, and I got back to him today because I forgot that he reached out. Then I woke up and I saw the notification. I was like, oh, I didn't finish talking about the seven of essences, but that's fine. Gemini, so you get a piece of this. So the seven of essences is important because we're sort of discovering that whatever harmony we found at the six, it's not complete, and that there's more. But there is this. And I think that's why the water is still right now, because after we found that harmony, it's like we have to be really self motivated to not be comfortable wherever we were. And people are creatures of habit, so we can find comfort in familiarity, even if it's uncomfortable. Right? We can be stuck in a situation that's familiar that we don't like. But let's see what we get for yous, Gemini. Seven of Essences is the beginning of deepening that understanding. Ooh, Gemini is getting the green set. Okay, I'm liking it. Wait, is this blue? Girl, this is the blue set. Gemini's getting the blue set. And it's a darker blue, so very third eye, but also some throat. Perception and communication. So Gemini would be in the Pisces Sagittarius side of that, which is about sort of testing the waters with other people. And the North Node is in Gemini right now, so it's almost perfect because no individual has the answer, right? And the things of old don't really serve anymore. They're kind of sort of antiquated and outdated, South Node Sagittarius. And we find it by exploration and communication and group collaborative efforts, right? It's like very much that, like, if you put a bunch of monkeys in a room, eventually they'll write Shakespeare. But I feel like instead of monkeys in a room, it's like people on a planet. Eventually they come up with something together that they don't necessarily have the capacity to conceptualize apart. But it's because I don't think any one person is necessarily given every piece of the puzzle, because when you split the pieces of the puzzle amongst people, it encourages cooperation, which is cute. So you've got a 3, you've got a 0, Ooh, number 90. I should know what 90 is. I should know what 90 is. Yeah, this is 90 and not 60. I think 90 might be Venus. I don't remember. I'll have to look at it. You's got this. Ooh, y'all's got the 8. Okay. So we's working with the solar plexus and the double crown, which is interesting. Gemini, y'all's coming out with the element of fire. See, we could have did elements. And 15, which is no, this is 18, which is the moon. And there should be one more. Yeah, here it is. And Leo again. So definitely in that more public arena. One second. I gotta look up what 90 is really quick. It might be Venus, because I know I looked up this. I looked up 90 one time, and I was like, oh, snap. Girl, 90 is the sun. LOL. 90 is the sun. So you got the sun, you got Leo, which is interesting. Which is what? Trining? No, sextiling. It's sextiling energy. The sun, Leo, the double crown, the solar plexus, and the element of fire. Fire, Leo, and the sun. This is very hot. This is very hot, Gemini. This is expressive. So probably more in that Sagittarian side where you are going beyond merely theorizing. I feel like maybe even going beyond talking, right? Like if this is an army, excuse me, around a campfire, I feel like Gemini is sitting in the energy of like a general or something like that. Like very in charge. Oh, I like this. Gemini is sitting in the energy of the general, very in charge. I feel like Gemini, you have a certain element of prestige um, here. Or maybe it's for you to come into it. Last time we did Gemini, was it Gemini? I think it was Gemini. I think it was Gemini. Pretty sure it was Gemini that you were selling yourself short in some way because of where you started or because of where you're from or because where you're going and where you are now are so drastically different or different in some area or aspect. Or maybe you've been the type of person in the past whose word wasn't heeded, even though you knew exactly what you were talking about, right? So it's really time for Gemini to step up. And I feel like I remember saying, even at that time, like something about where you are or where you've come from makes you uniquely suited to lead or at the very least shine a light on some things that other people are not seeing right now. And out of all of these, I feel like Gemini would be the one that's like, hey, like I can see this from the bottom of my glass boat, but I wonder what it would look like if I went over there. And then if I went over there, and then if I went over there. And it's through virtue of experience that Gemini becomes experience, rather than through virtue of thought with Sagittarius or through virtue of imagining with Pisces. um, so yeah, it's very yang yin energy. Um, yang yin. Yeah, it's very yang yin energy where it is expressive, but it comes from the inside. Gemini is the lovers, right? Like when you're expressing your life to somebody, right? It's like you're talking, but it's rooted internally in something very deep. And you have the solar plexus chakra and the sun, which I love because the sun and the solar was it is that divine connection, but it's sort of embodying our own divinity. And when we do that, we can't sell ourselves short. And I think that's what this double crown here is for. The double crown for me, it's about transmitting from that space rather than just receiving. And so there is this need for Gemini to embody the higher qualities of themselves. right? If you've got multiple sides and multiple aspects, I feel like it's time to bring the best of all of them together and to embody that. Now, you're not going to be perfect or whatever all the time or ever, but to more consciously embody the better and the best of all of who you are. And it's almost like there are certain things when Gemini energy is engaging with Sagittarian energy in some ways can discredit Gemini energy because Gemini energy isn't as matured or as studied. But Gemini is like, you can have all the theory and masturbatory whatever that you want, talking about, oh, I've done this and I have all of these accolades and I've studied this for years and made a living out of it. I travel across the world because I am renowned in my field. But Gemini has found the one thing that completely breaks down Sagittarius's argument. And in the scientific community, or just in general, you only have to disprove something one time in order for it to not always be true. But again, going back to Sagittarian energy last time, it's these things that Sagittarian energy will kind of sort of overlook or throw out or will deem as an outlier, something that's justifiably ignorable. But Gemini is like, no, like, come here. I will show you physically. No equations or fancy whatever involved. A simple little experiment, and you will see that you're wrong. And so I feel like it's up to Gemini energy right now to embody those things and to really shine that light and be that example. North Node is in Gemini right now. So, and even if it isn't anything specific, I feel like it's something that is characteristic of you. Maybe it's the way you go about doing something that could lead to new processes. Maybe it's the things that you think about that other people don't necessarily think about. Again, because Gemini is paddling its boat around the still water because the boat isn't going to move itself. Now, if we think that the boat is moving, then maybe Gemini will be the only one to realize that it's not actually, or that it hasn't been moving for a long time. Now, Virgo energy could notice it if it isn't focused on something else, right? Because I feel like if Virgo energy is like hyper focused on something else, they won't notice either, right? But I don't know. I feel like that's it for Gemini. Gemini was kind of short last time too. I'm just like, I don't know. I don't really have a lot to say to Gemini besides be the better you, more consciously, and to show it. Don't discredit yourself just because you're not this or you're not that or you're from here or you're not from there, or because I don't know, you're a woman and people don't listen to women, or because you aren't like the school that you went to or where you have your degree or the job that you were doing or the length of time that you've been doing whatever. It gets you invalidated in some ways or you don't really get listened to. Prove it to them. It's time to prove it, Gemini. And you could just be a random at the campfire who's able to strategize and to analyze in a way that gets you promoted at that same campfire. Or you walk away from the campfire that night, someone else overhearing you off to the side or part of that sort of same campfire discussion goes back, talks to the higher ups, and they're like, we want you to be the strategist, or hey, these are some of the things that we're sort of facing right now, and because of what you said about that, we believe that you'd be really good at doing this. And then all of a sudden you've ascended through the ranks overnight, literally overnight. Okay, now in real life it may not literally be overnight, but the decision could be made overnight. That spark, and I was talking about that spark. If you keep going, Gemini, eventually something's going to catch fire and then it's really going to blow up. But if you continue to do that, not that you're necessarily doing it, but if you continue to sell yourself short, you could be a few strikes away from really catching fire. And you got the element of fire, the sun. Hold up, wait. This is the sun. The element of fire, the sun, Leo, and the solar plexus. I have not talked about the moon at all. Well, full moon Gemini, Lunar eclipse. It could be your time, Gemini. It could be your gosh darn time. Could be. I feel like the moon is a space of self doubt. Oh, I was thinking about this morning or last night when I was going to bed or when I was waking up. It was like in the space of the eclipse with the corona of the sun, it's almost like it creates this portal that only opens on the eclipse because it thins that veil of light, right? Now, let's say that there's a slightly incendiary effect to the sunlight. And so this portal of pure sunlight, girl, you'd burn up. But with the cooling of the moon there, it's like once you cross that initial threshold, it's like you're in and you can ride it for, and it may not be open necessarily long. Opportunity is not a lengthy visitor. And it also reminds me of something that I said last night, I think. Oh, I can't remember what it was. I can't remember what it was. It was in my mind, and then opportunity is not a lengthy visitor came into my mind, and then the other thing was gone. It's not about crossing the veil, but there's this opportunity to step through because the moon is there. But it comes from within. Again, with the moon and the sun, it's about, and with Leo energy here, connected to transmitting from the crown, it's about externalizing the internal and to really speaking your truth, to leaving people's jaws on the floor. If I had to title this, I'd be like, to Gemini, continuously leaving people's jaws on the floor in shock, in awe, and in whatever other way. Y'all do it. All right, that's what I got for you, Gemini. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you act in alignment to make the good and the better, the good, the great, your reality, because you can do it, mate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to any Gemini or anybody who I've offended with that accent. Um, but yeah, I feel like that's some bomb energy, Gemini. I love it for y'all. And again, it reminds me of when I did Gemini for the last time I did Major Minor Court through the Zodiac, or maybe it was the time before last, and Gemini had like these two towers. And it was like when the first tower falls, things are gonna like fall apart. But when the second tower comes, they're gonna come back together better than they were before. But without that distance or without that dissonance, we wouldn't reconfigure it in this way, right? Maybe you also fell under some Sagittarian or Hierophant system for a while that made a lot of theoretical sense, but in your everyday life, it just didn't, right? Maybe there's some sort of philosophy that everyone's been following, but it's like if you look at it in a more practical way, it falls apart. It doesn't work. And maybe in your exploration of that, you found something that does. Or you found something that could lead to something that works more or better. So that's what I have. And we'll move on to Sag. All right, Saggies, let's do this. How are you doing, Sagittarius? Sagittarii. Do I have all the dice in here? 2, 4. Hold up. 2, 4. Hold up. 2. Yeah, I do. It felt like I was missing one for a second. Let's see what color you get, Sag. Ooh, the orange side. Okay, that's sacral, that fire. So Sagittarius is very on brand today, very on brand today, very on brand today. If you've watched me for a minute, you know I'm wondering if that gray set is gonna pop out. And who's gonna get it? Low key, I was like, I really want to be nice to Sagittarius today, so I hope it ain't that gray set. Okay. Alright, what is this? This set's a little hard for me to read. Number 2? So, here's a 2. Uh-oh. Oh, here's a 6. Here's a 9. And is this the other one? Yep. What is it? Hold up. Oh, 69. Okay. Or was it 49? I think it was 69. So 69 to 6. Oh, these are a little difficult for me to read. Bear with me, y'all. What number is this? 2, right? Yep. 2. Let me put it here. 7 or 1? This is a 1. So you got 1, 2, and 2. 6, 69, and your element is on the table somewhere. Oh, it's right here. Your element is Earth. So let's see what 69 is real quick. So this is the 6 of Souls. Oh, goodness. Well, the 6 of Souls to me is an energy of complacency. Um, feels like Sag is. It feels like Sag is in a good space. Feels like Sag might have it worked out. And the element of Earth is here, which is fixed, which is slow. We also have High Priestess, the third eye, and the sacral. With the third eye and the sacral, I feel like it's an energy of seeing what it is that you already believe. And since you see what it is that you already believe, there's no reason for you to question, doubt, reevaluate, or expand in any real way. It makes you fixed and rigid in an earthen way. Excuse me. Now let's see what 49 is, just for funsies. Just for funsies. 49 is the Sage of Earth. So, yeah. That's it. That's it. That's that 6 of Essences energy with the element of Earth, and we think that we're the Sage of the Earth, but if you think about it, being the Sage of the Earth is limiting because it's limited to what physically happens. It's limited by what is observable. And Sagittarian energy is the energy that kind of sort of makes sense of things. It holds higher education, it holds philosophy and expansive thinking, but it's all observable. And so what happens is, it's like it makes Sagittarius really, really great at what is already known and projecting it forward, but it falls apart whenever things shift or change too much. And we know that the water is not always going to be still. And that's where Gemini comes in. That's where Gemini shines, right? When it's new, when it's something worth exploring or expanding upon. Sagittarius's energy it's too focused, it's too fixed in that way. It's like pinpoint accuracy, but anything outside of that, it's almost hazy, right? It's like once you've locked onto something, you don't really see anything outside of that. It can be very like tunnel vision type of energy. This is interesting because with that Sage of Earth, though, there's also this energy here of like creating the world that there's even this energy of creating the world that you see around you that reaffirms everything that you already know. It's almost this energy of like Sagittarius has somewhere along the way picked up an ability to be truly creative. But it's it's like unwittingly furthering the creation that was already there, right? It's like, let's say that something isn't great, and Sagittarius is like, this is the way things are. I will sort of structure my understanding around this, or I will learn as a result of this. Because again, it's all about the things that are observable or experiential in life and building an understanding upon that. But again, like the water has started to move, it's not still anymore. But now Sagittarius is creating stillness. It's holding on to, it's prolonging, it's preserving these things that are already scheduled and subjected to change. And so there's a need to face potential invalidation. There's a need to let certain beliefs be invalidated in order to really begin to experience something new, right? Because overall, we're sitting in the energy of the seven of essences, but Sagittarius is sitting in the energy of the six of souls. At the seven, we understand that what we had at the six is not complete, even though it feels like it is, or even though we have a working understanding of whatever it is. So, yeah, it feels like Sagittarius is literally creating what has already passed in its own life. It's like it's casting villains and all of these other things to maintain whatever view of the world that Sagittarius has. And that's why, as we're shifting, or that's why the nodes move retrograde, right? South Node was already in Capricorn. So everything establishment wise, organizational wise, is already in the process, already scheduled for demolition and for reconstitution. But as long as we hold on to the same understandings, and as long as we configure things the same way, it's like Sagittarius is the energy that lies beneath the foundation of those buildings. And you can knock the building over all you want, but if you don't look at the foundation under it, what happens is the same type of energy up top. And so I just say it's time for Sagittarius to take responsibility of its own creative power. And at the very least, to realize in some way that you are proliferating and prolonging whatever suffering or whatever that you're experiencing in your reality, because you became really good at it, really knowledgeable. You were able to navigate, like, oh, this is how that is, and this is how this other thing is. But you're not creating anything different, or at the very least, allowing things to change. And they can. There's a lot of like self confirmation here. And again, it puts Sagittarius in this energy of like, oh, I'm right. Oh, I'm right. See, I'm still right. It's like, yeah, you are. You're right. You can have it. You can have it. And I don't know. I guess I'd say be open to seeing things in a new way. Be open to actually listening to the High Priestess. Because the High Priestess here is everything that these are all of the outliers. Literally, it's all the outliers with the High Priestess. It's everything that you've thrown away as false or inaccurate or whatever, but it's actually true. Just not in the context that you've defined things and that you choose to continue to look at things. Sagittarius will go nowhere in its boat and argue all day long that it knows all that there is to know, while Gemini is out here actually exploring the pond getting all of this information. And it's like, well, it's not true in that space. And it's like, well, yeah, that's because that space doesn't exist. Well, it's not true in that space either. It's like, that's another outlier. And it's not true in that space. It's like, nothing is true in that space. You see how lawless that is or whatever? And it's like, girl, if your truth is only true from the exact position that you're in, you're in. Time to eliminate liquid waste. Oh, well, yeah, I guess that's what Sagittarius is doing. If you're not going anywhere, you never leave the boat, the urine's got to go somewhere. And any container you have on board can only hold so much. Oh, that's like one of those waste plant facilities. Yeah, that's that energy. It's like this like a wastewater or like a one of those whenever there's like that company and they dump the sludge in the river or whatever. Like Sagittarius has parked its boat near one of those areas, and so everything that it marks as true is the way that money and corporations and greed and other things have twisted what is organic and true and natural. But then it's like Sagittarius, since that's all that Sagittarius knows, and since Sagittarius is the energy of building upon what you already know and creating philosophy out of what you've experienced, then it proliferates that. But Gemini is sitting over there in the freshwater, like, 3 eyes, girl. What are you talking about? This fish only got two. All of the fish I've seen have like 2 eyes. And Sagittarius is like, no, they all have three and like 15 fins, and they're scaleless. They have skin instead of scales. Everybody else is like, what kind of fish are you looking at? And Sagittarius is like, oh yeah, you didn't know? I don't know. All I'm saying is Sagittarius, it could be better. I don't know. All right, that's what I got for Sag. Um, I hope you have a good whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it better. And the only time I feel like, again, it's not like I have something against Sagittarius. I just feel like Sagittarius could do and be better. And once Sagittarius gets on a brand new page, maybe working with some of that. I don't know why I always do this. Maybe working with some of your Piscean, Jupiterian brothers and sisters to actually look at and observe the things before you just label them as an outlier. Actually listen to your intuition when it comes to doing something new that goes against what you've been trained or taught. It's like, we could really use that to get where we're going a lot quicker instead of it fighting against where we're going and keeping what is established established. More powerful than you know, Sagittarius. Jupiterian, you know. Next is Virgo. No, it's Pisces. Well, I guess we'll go to Virgo. It was supposed to be Pisces. Hi, Pisces is last this time. Revenge of the Sagittarians. Oh, I'm just playing. Okay, let's see what color Virgo gets. The grains. Oh, it goes to Virgo. Interesting. Interesting. I literally just talked about this at the beginning of the Sagittarius video. I was like, if y'all watch me use dice for a minute, y'all know that I feel some type of way about the grade set, and I'm wondering when it's going to come out, if it's going to come out. Now, there was a 4 in 6 chance, a 66.6 repeating infinitely chance that this set would come out. 33.3 infinitely repeating percent chance that it wouldn't come out. But here it is for Virgo. But I actually love gray for Virgo because this is Virgo navigating in a space that is no longer black or white. Cute, Virgo. Let's see. So, when it comes to the element, we have the element of Earth. That's your element. Not too bad. Okay. Where am I going to go next? We also have the number 6. So, on the same die, I believe Sagittarius had 6 too, didn't it? Yup. Sagittarius had 2 and 6. But you've got the number, is this 1? No, 7. Okay. 6 and 7, Virgo, that's nice. Third eye in the crown. Let's go for this one. This is the number 8. We also have this, which is 40, so 48. Sagittarius potentially had 49. So I know that that is the teacher. Oh, you have the element of earth and the teacher of the element of earth, which is the teacher of realms, which is interesting. Virgo was the gatekeeper of the element of earth. Talked about that. Ooh, almost swallowed that icebreaker I just put in my mouth. Next, we're coming over to the number 5, which is more Leo. Leo energy is all over this today. Wait, what does Sagittarius have? Did I even read it? Hold up, y'all gonna see my head in the frame. Sagittarius had number 1, which is Aries. Now, I didn't talk about the energy of Aries at all, but I feel like if there's a Sagittarius still watching, or for Virgo, if you know a Sagittarius, I don't know. I'm gonna mention it here. I didn't talk about Aries at all for Sagittarius, but I feel like that's that energy that I was getting of like Sagittarius creating and proliferating and carrying on these things that have already stopped or that are stopping. These things that would lose momentum if Sagittarius would pull its energy out of it rather than continually theorizing ways to get out of a situation that or into a situation that has already ended or is already beginning. And it's more of a endings. Sagittarius is keeping something alive that is dying or dead. That's why the South Node is there right now. But as long as Sagittarius, again, continues to keep their energy there, it's sustaining this spark. Talking about striking the flint to the tinder, it's continuously adding more and more air, more and more fuel, trying to keep this fire alive. And it's like, let's just let it die because we moved over to electric. Has lots of benefits, or some other source. We moved over to a cleaner energy that doesn't, I don't know, deforestate all of the trees in this neck of the woods because the fire is dying and you will cut down every single gosh darn tree within a 25-mile radius to keep that fire up. And it's like, okay, well, what about all the birds and the squirrels and the worms and the mushrooms and everything else that lives here, girl? Maybe Virgo could be doing a little bit of that too. We didn't start the fire. It was always turning since the world's been burning, but girl, you keep it going, don't you? We ain't started, but we'll be gosh darned if we let it go out. I'm sorry. But hey, Virgo, maybe you are keeping some fire burning that need to stop turning. And then we got 18, which is the moon. It could have been the number 2, either the number 2 or 18. I'll take 18 because I think it's 18, but I did see the number 2. And the 2 is the high priestess, 18 is the moon. So there is a merge in that energy. Excuse me. But actually, the moon and the necromancer and the erudite are still together in the deck. And I mentioned that when I was finding the cards. And so you're still coming out with this Piscean energy. Something about Virgo feels very Pisces right now. And again, I love that for Virgo. Because with Virgo being the entryway to the element of earth, it allows the earth to become a lot better than what it actually is. Not better than what it is. It allows us to come into this newer energy. Because it's like, again, it's like Virgo is that pseudopod that drags the rest of the earth into this element. So love it, Virgo. Keep working on yourself. Yes. Queens. I don't know what that was. I'm sorry. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. I'm like, what is that? Does that song have words? I don't think that song has words. Is that the waltz? Is that the Nutcracker? Is that the waltz of the Nutcracker? I'm actually gonna look it up. We're gonna look it up and we're gonna see real quick because I'm curious. Cause there was some Christmas song that like had words or something, and I was like, I did not know that song had words. Waltz of the Nutcracker, the butt cracker. What? Let's see if it is indeed the Nutcracker Waltz of the Snowflakes. Is it this? We'll speed this up. Okay, maybe not. I really thought it was about to come in there. What is that? Now I gotta look it up. What is that? Is it Midomi? Is that the website? Let's see. Let's see what will pop up. I'm sorry, Virgo. Um, let's see. It is Midomi. I hope it picks it up because I only know a little bit. That's all I know. That's all I know. It didn't pick it up. Hold up. Come on. Midomi has worked like one time to get me to find the song that I wanted, but it's not working. Okay, sorry, Virgo. It ain't gonna work. Maybe y'all know. I don't know. Maybe it was later in that song. Maybe not. Anyway, I already forgot what we got. We got the element Earth. We have the teacher of essences. No, the teacher of realms. We have the teacher of realms, the element of Earth. We have the crown and the third eye. We've got Leo and the moon. Leo and the moon is interesting because Leo isn't the sun, but it carries solar energy. And so I feel like this is about Virgo and also with the crown into the third eye. I'd say Virgo may be in the space of experiencing, seeing the things that it is thinking, or seeing the things that it is receiving, which will eventually become receiving the things that you see or seek. Ooh, I like that. Now, the teacher of essences, the thing about the element of earth for me is that it's the final element. And so to be a teacher of earth, you have to, at the very least, be a teacher of essences, of realms, and a teacher of essences, souls, and zones. And so there's this understanding that Virgo is starting to come into sort of behind the scenes again with that crown chakra that will begin to permit it to see that and interact with it in a very earthen, experiential, tactile way. But it's going to put Virgo in the space of teaching it. Now, when you teach something, you learn twice. And when you teach something, a lot of times, unless we're talking about elementary school here in the US, there are different teachers for different subjects. And so if you want to become a teacher, there's a preference for elementary school or middle school, junior high, high school, college, beyond later. We could also be teachers in the ways of like presenters, right? Where we're not necessarily teaching. And Virgo was a man's head, right? Virgo was a man's head, and then you have the third eye in the crown chakra. Interesting. I'm sorry, my shadow probably keeps on coming over here. Right. From the seven of essences to the teacher of souls. Now, a teacher doesn't have the same depth of understanding as a sage does. But that's because, it's not because, but it makes it easier to relate to the people that you teach. And sometimes we can teach people things that we're not necessarily certified in, or we're not. It's like, to be a teacher or a mentor or anything, you don't necessarily have to be, okay, you do, but you don't necessarily have to be like extremely knowledgeable about that subject. You just have to be knowledgeable enough to teach those who know less than you. And again, you don't have to be a sage to be a teacher. And a lot of sages don't make great teachers. A teacher's knowledge is also broader than a sage's. Where a sage builds upward, a teacher would expand. Almost through virtue of vocation, right? Since a teacher interacts with kids or more immature, lesser developed energies, and since sages typically interact with other sages, it's like the teacher has the opportunity to bolster, build up their understanding, and to test it and have it tried from different perspectives. And where the sage would call someone uneducated, the teacher would go, that's a good question. Let me actually look into that, because something about what you said kind of sort of makes sense. Like, why is it this way? That the sage will just be like, it is what it is. It's already been proven. It's like, okay, well, that's not answering the question. I feel like Virgo being before Libra, it's a pre-justice energy. And so there's almost this energy of like, before there can be any justice, first we have to get judges that won't be bought out by money, or who aren't extremely jaded, or they don't have heavy preconceptions. We need someone who can be unbiased. And last time I remembered, was it last night or this morning, when I was like, Virgo holds the energy of forest fires and tsunamis and all of the ways that the earth purifies itself? It's Virgo and not Scorpio. At least right now, the energy is feeling much more Virgonian than Scorpionic, right? Because even the maiden gets cramps and everything else. The maiden suffers because she is not bearing child in some ways. I feel like there's something there, but I don't know what it is. It's like, even though you're not bearing child, there's still the price to pay. But it doesn't last forever. And depending, it could have various degrees of discomfort. But back into this, because this teacher of souls, let me just confirm that it's actually the teacher, even though I know it's actually the teacher, because I literally just looked at 49. I want to try this one more time. I want to try again. Girl, how long I gotta? Oh, wait! Wait, is this it or is this trending? Is this it or is this trending? Is this it or is this trending? I'm confused. Hold up. Yeah, this ain't seeming like it. But let's give it a second. Sorry, Virgo. Bear with me. Hold up. Is this it? No. Oh gosh, it won't stop. There we go. Unfortunately, that wasn't it either. It's fine. What was I going to look up, Virgo? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, I was going to check to see if 48 is what I've been saying it is, and I'm pretty sure it is because I just looked at 49. Oops. So 48 is the Teacher of Realms, which is lovely. The Teacher of Realms is and again it's about learning how to use all the elements. And I feel like Virgo, I mean, you're Mercury ruled. Mercury is the magician. I feel like the limitations on Virgo, though, as opposed to Gemini, is practicality, right? It's like the Hermit. And it's another studied energy. But the Hermit, in some ways, learns from nature itself, which is gorgeous. And there's the element of earth. So, very sort of like natural ways to go about doing some pretty awesome things. Maybe Virgo's getting more into crystals or herbs or anything related to earth. Um, but yeah, with the moon here, I feel like there's this very internal thing happening and changing in Virgo right now that opens up limitations of perception that may have previously been there, that keeps Virgo outside of its more wildly manifested ability. I mean, the third eye and the crown, like it's those are the top two. Those are the big boys. It's interesting. And so let's go to the boat on still water. Because I was like, I don't know what Virgo's doing right now. Either Virgo was like hyper focused. It almost feels like at this point though, Virgo was like, I'm so like I know what's under the water. I'm more interested in what's above right now. So Virgo is sitting in their boat with a telescope eye to the sky. That's why Virgo is a man's head, I guess. Instead of like arguing about what's beneath the boat or theorizing or thinking about what's beneath the boat, Virgo is like, okay, like this under the boat thing, like been there, done that, still water, kind of over it, honestly. First, the water was fun because you know it's different than Earth, but it's still, Earth is still. I need something a little bit more dynamic. And so you look up and then you see clouds in the sky moving, stars in the sky moving, the sun, the moon in the sky moving. And you're like, huh. Now, Virgo also knows that distance is a factor and that different inertial frames could give us a perception of velocity that is untrue, right? It's like because of where we stand, something could look slower than what it actually is. Or like if you're in the frame, then for you, it could be stationary, even though from an outside perspective, it would be moving. And what does movement feel like, right? Because, like, let's say that you're in a plane and we're at cruise, like, you're cruising in an airplane and you don't look out the windows. What does movement feel like? Because I feel like in a car, in a bus, maybe even in a train, we can feel it because we are like sitting on top of the wheels or something because there's friction, there's resistance between the wheel and the road that we can feel ourselves overcoming, so we know that we're moving. But in in a medium that we move through where there is no friction, where all of the talking about the three of swords and aerodynamics, where all of the air happens on the outside of the vessel and we don't necessarily feel it unless there's a moment of turbulence. How do we know that we're moving? And who's to say that Virgo hasn't moved? It is the Knight of Pentacles. And so it's this energy, could be this energy of having done a lot more, closing a lot more distance than maybe you think you have. Because it is so steady, right? Because it's not jerky or because there's not a lot of friction or, right, you're not hitting anything where you're like, ooh, like we're moving, we're really moving. Did you feel that? Because you're not just like, because when you like take off, then you can feel it. Even greater than imagined and much more than you know, Virgo. Even greater than you imagined and much more than you know. Or whatever, even believe, girl. But believe it. Because I feel like whatever you see in your mind's eye right now, even though this is the default to me, the default receptive nature of the. Oh, wow. And Gemini got the transmittive nature of the crown chakra. Virgo's coming out with the receptive nature of the crown chakra of the crown chakra. So Virgo's in the crown. Okay, not mad at it. Virgo. So Mercury is in the crown, and Mercury just came out of retrograde. So it's probably like, whew, goodness. We had to go back to pick up some things, and girl, am I glad I did because now she knows. What does she know? I don't know. They know. And that's what I got for Virgo. I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make the best your reality. Because for those who believe and act according to so, it becomes reality. And I feel like I don't necessarily need to really say that to Virgo because it's like Virgo is starting to get it. So, hey, love that. Love that. Piscean energy looks wonderful on you, Virgo, because Virgo will actually make it happen. It won't be so lost in it. Come on, let's collapse that. Let's collapse that pole and meet each other in the middle, Virgo. All right, let's move on to Pisces. All right, let's go, Pisces. Let's go. So the colors we have left are purple, and green. I think it's going to be purple. Let's see if it's green. There's even two purples. There's like a gold purple. There's a purple with like some golds and some reds in it. And then there's a purple that's like more, it's colder. It has like grays in it. And it's the green. Oh wait, it is the green. I said it would be green. Did I say it would be green or did I say it would be purple? And then in the beginning I was like, oh, it would be interesting if we got both purples. And I guess I was like, oh well, whatever. Pisces is coming out with the green, so there's no purple today. No purple today to me means that this time no one's necessarily completely got it. The purple set to me is a little bit more cosmic. Well, I guess also no purples can mean that it's a little bit more down to earth. It's a lot more centralized and local, which is cute. Pisces coming out with the green set, with the heart colored set, with the earthen flavored sets. And let's see what's it. So we got the number 12, which is the outlaw, which is Piscean energy. The hangman, sorry, which is the hangman. We got the number 8, which is Scorpio. Interesting. We have the number 6 again. Oops, I almost put this right on top of this 6. Here's another 6. Well, that's 60. Here's a 2. 2 and 6. Wow, just like Sagittarius. Just like Sagittarius. So Jupiter is coming out with, I'm pretty sure, hold up, there's my head again, 2 and 6. So all three of these got 6 on the D6. Gemini got 3 on the D6. So Jupiter is coming out with that sacral and third eye energy. This is number 12, which is Pisces. So Pisces got 12 twice, which is interesting. Pisces and the hangman. And then I said this was 60. This is 64. 64 is probably the 3. No. It would be the 2 of souls, because 69 was the 7? Question mark. I'll look it up. And then we have the number 3, which is the element of air. So what did we get? We got fire, earth, air, earth. So no one came up with the element of water. Let's just look this up real quick. Who? Oh, no. Oh, no. 64 is actually the ace. So we're sitting at the ace of souls, Pisces, which is interesting. So we have the same sacral third eye thing that Sagittarius had. But on this side, since it's not Earth, it's a lot more mutable. Oh, I love that Pisces and Sagittarius are looking at each other. Okay, cute. We got these two knights over here looking back. These two knights over here looking forward. Interesting. That was not intentional. But Pisces and Sagittarius is at the heart of this, on with Sagittarius holding the South Node. And then Gemini and Virgo are on the outside, with Gemini holding the North Node right now. So the next mutable node will be Pisces. I want to see what year that'll be, but I'm not going to go there. It feels like Pisces is coming into its ability to really begin creating with that ace of souls. This is interesting though, because I feel like Piscean energy is connecting back to the truth of the self through the ether. But not even in like a usable or practical way. Or it's not that it's not usable or practical, but like we're not going back to the ace as a page, a knight, a king, or a queen, as an initiate, a scholar, a teacher, or a sage. We're just sitting at that, basically at the source. The soul before it's divided into, however many parts. And from the space of the source, we have the hangman, Piscean energy, which is It's almost this energy like where Sagittarius is throwing out all of the outliers. It's like Pisces energy is embracing it. But that makes sense because Pisces energy is the dark side of Jupiter, with Sagittarius being its light, right? Dark and light being feminine and masculine. Jupiter or Sagittarius is the masculine side of Jupiter, Pisces is the feminine side of Jupiter. And so anything that doesn't shine on the light of Jupiter is sort of automatically relegated and delegated to the shadow. Pisces, this is rough. I don't think it is. I just gotta like get into it. So with the sacral and the third eye, for Pisces, I feel like this is an element of projection. So Pisces is at this fireside chat. Virgo, I feel like Virgo again, like Virgo's not even at the campfire. Virgo is in Virgo's tent, maybe overhearing some of the things from the campfire, but like really sort of like either dreaming or planning, charting its next move. Gemini is kind of leading the conversation. Pisces, we might think that Pisces is derailing the conversation, but Pisces thinks that it's participating and that its contributions are worthwhile. Sagittarius is maybe still in the market, maybe not in the market. Sagittarius is just like there, but not really listening to anybody because Sagittarius already has its mind made up. So Sagittarius is like eye rolling at Gemini, but is definitely not listening to Pisces. But again, it's like everything that Sagittarius rejects, Pisces accepts. Not everything, because they do have common ground, right? They share Jupiter, but those unexplainable or outlying experiences that defy current reasoning or logic or what is to be understood or proven, it's like it's subjected to the 12th house from the ninth right to the 12th. And what is the sixth house? It's like the third house is like, primary education or first and secondary education. It could be your local environment and siblings. Ninth house is like global travel, higher education, philosophy. 12th house is like all of that more subconscious. It's like the depths of the mind, the corners of the mind. And then like the sixth house is like daily routines and health and things like that, which is fine. What do I know about astrology or the houses? But it feels like Pisces is projecting. Feels like Sagittarian energy is creating or sustaining, and Piscean energy is projecting. But it feels like the age of Pisces is going to leave us with the gift that we'll take into the age of Aquarius, which is knowing that there's more. Maybe not necessarily knowing how to prove or what more there is, but even in a not that great way, potentially. It's like knowing that there's more, knowing that we could do better, or at the very least, knowing that we don't want to continuously experience what it is that we've been experiencing. But I feel like it's the challenge of Pisces to make this real because we have creativity, We have sight. We have the outlaw, which are the hangman, which is not going anywhere physically. Blood is rushing to the head. Hey, the head is Virgo. Blood is rushing to the head, but no real movement is happening. We have Piscean energy, which is literally Zane, and the element of air. With the Ace of Wands, Ace of Souls type energy, there's nothing here to ground any of this. And again, it's like the Ace of Wands. Like, we haven't even necessarily picked it up yet. Like, at this point, we're just looking at it and fantasizing about what we could do with all this fire, what we could do with the truth of self. And so it's the need. And I was like, oh, it's the earthy colored dice. And this mess is ungrounded AF. But with Piscean energy and the hangman, it's not supposed to be grounded. Right? Which is why it opposes Virgo in some way. And it's almost like Virgo energy is reaching out to Pisces. But instead of Pisces reaching back to Virgo to bridge that gap, Pisces is like in Pisces world. And Virgo's like, Pisces, wait, I need you to teach me how to Dougie teach me. I'm sorry. Um ooh, that Virgo's like, Pisces, like, I need you to teach me how to dream. Or how to interact with that realm of dreams. It's like, Pisces, I need you to be a little bit grounded and a little bit not necessarily grounded. I need you to be focused right now, Pisces. And I need you to reign. I was thinking RAIN, but REIGN? Okay. It's almost like Pisces never owned the energy of its age. And that's how it devolved into everything that it devolved into, right? So many religious and spiritual philosophies centered around themes of love and treating people with kindness and acceptance. But when we're engaging in those spaces with people from other spaces, or even not, a lot of times it seems like it's used to divide and to spread hatred and things like that. And if your primary tenets are based on love for one another, then it shouldn't matter necessarily what any book or text or pastor or preacher or evangelist says. Your primary tenets should come first. And we should be like, okay, does this violate the tenets of love and compassion and kindness for my fellow man? Yes. Okay, well, let's not do that thing. But we use it to justify not great things. And I feel like that's where, like, the age of Pisces kind of sort of falls apart, because it feels like conceptually, in general, it should have been a lot better than what it was. It's like, okay, the world is like boats, airplanes, emails, uh, global media, and interconnectedness is not yet a thing. So let's spread this message of love in these different pockets of the world so that by the time they come together, or when they discover each other, they will come together in a more harmonious, compassionate, cooperative way, rather than in a competitive survival of the fittest, there can only, this town ain't big enough for the both of us type of energy. And Pisces, I feel like, again, didn't really own the energy of its age, because it was off doing whatever. But because Pisces didn't own the energy of its age, what it did was it bolstered the collective desire for these things that were not experienced, or in that energy experienceable. And so it banked all of it. Now we just have to figure how to get it out of the bank, Pisces. And Virgo may actually hold the answer for you, or some answers for you, right? And Virgo is like mutable earth. So it's like the friendliest earth element to Pisces because it's mutable. And we could say that Capricorn, since it's cardinal earth, but Capricorn scales mountains. Capricorn creates mountains. It's Saturn. Um, and, the mountain isn't necessarily the friendliest um, uh, geographical terrain feature. Is a mountain isn't the friendliest geographical feature to a fish who's under the water, or at the very least in the water. Unless you're a trout girl, then I don't know, and there's a river on that mountain. Then hey. But it's like with Virgo being the space of mutable earth, it's the closest to Pisces, which is mutable water. And I don't know, I feel like this pole could do some collapsing. This pole is a lot more harmonious than this pole right now because this pole is where the nodes are. So Pisces, that's what I got. I feel like there's no real answers or anything, but Pisces is in a place where Pisces is kind of sort of in its energy right now. And it's time for Pisces to learn how to make use of its energy in a way that is productive and can lead to something more tangible and practical, or at the very least experiential. Something that Pisces can experience and not just fantasize and dream about. And it's also about taking up those opportunities and not just holding them within the realm of dreams. It's where and well, maybe that was a part of it. In the age of Pisces, everything in that world is sort of locked behind a vault. But as we move into the age of Aquarius, then it's like the closer we get, the more those things are sort of coming out. But on the consensus, on the plane of consensus, aka reality, whatever we pour the most into is what becomes. So it could be good or bad, but I feel like we're also starting to realize that things don't have to necessarily be as bad as they were. So that's what I got for mutable signs. Pisces, I hope you have a good whatever whenever you see this, and I hope you're acting in alignment to make it even better. I feel like with mutable signs, none of these necessarily feel complete. But maybe that's why the 3 keeps coming out. I don't know. This is the trilogy point. I'll just title this Mutable Signs, the trilogy point, because I only get 3s. Alright, y'all. I'll catch y'all later. Have a good one. Bye. Bye 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 bye. Bye.